Hey and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's begin with our daily news. Arsenal are well aware that Jorginho wants to go back home. Arsenal know that Jorginho is eyeing up a return to Italy. Speaking on the Arsenal Beat podcast, Simon Collings has been discussing Arsenal's midfield conundrum heading into the summer, and he has suggested that the Gunners could perhaps sell Jorginho just a few months after he arrived at the Emirates. Indeed, Collins says that Arsenal are well aware that the midfielder wants to head back to Italy, eventually to return home back to the country where he spent so much of his career so far. Collins shared what he knows about the phenomenal midfielder. He said, "Just to play devil's advocate, a scenario you could foresee, I know Jorginho has 1 year left on his deal, but they know pretty well that he eventually wants to return to Italy. Given that he's had an okay 6 months, is there an argument that you could move Jorginho on to generate a bit of money and get another midfielder in? Jorginho's time at the Emirates could well be short lived, and in all honesty, that may not be a bad thing. Indeed, the Italian was very much a stopgap signing to tide Arsenal over in the title race. Let's not forget, they initially wanted to sign Moses Caicedo from Brighton instead, and by the time the summer comes around, they will be able to do deals for players like Caicedo or Declan Rice. Jorginho's age works against him. This Arsenal team has been built almost wholly around youth, and it's hard to see how a player of his age and stature will have a long term future here. He is not even getting into the team at the moment. He may have only just joined, but don't be shocked if Jorginho does leave in the summer. Journalists suggest Thomas Partey might be playing with an injury at the moment. Thomas Partey could be playing with an injury at the moment, according to Sam Dean. Speaking on the Arsenal Beat podcast, the Telegraph journalist was speaking about the Ghanaian's drop off in form as of late, and he suggested that the midfielder could well be carrying an injury. Now, Dean did say that he doesn't have any inside information on this matter and that he hasn't asked anyone about the midfielder's fitness, but he made sure to note that he wouldn't be surprised at all if Partey was indeed carrying a knock. The journalist shared his verdict on Partey. Thomas Partey has dropped off a cliff in the past few games. He has forgotten how to play football in the same way, and watching him against City on Wednesday was bizarre. I don't know about his fitness, and I have not asked anyone, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was carrying something. All of a sudden, Partey's recent form makes a lot more sense. The £45 million man has been unbelievably good this season, but over the past month or so, his performances have declined sharply. He is not covering as much ground, he looks a yard slower, and he is not dominating games in the same way he used to. If Partey is indeed carrying an injury, we can only hope that he is back to full fitness soon, because this Arsenal team is a joy to watch when they are playing their best stuff, and Partey is the key cog in this footballing machine. Arsenal's Mikel Arteta makes surprise transfer decision about Granit Xhaka. Arsenal are now reportedly ready to sell Granit Xhaka in the upcoming summer transfer window. Well, that's a surprise. The Swiss international has been one of the Gunners' best players this season. He has been magnificent for them and is one of their leaders. Granit Xhaka has constantly divided the Arsenal fans base ever since he joined the club for £35 million back in the summer of 2016. His performances at times haven't been great. There have been more than one disciplinary issue on the pitch, and his outburst against Crystal Palace made him enemy number one. However, Xhaka has come back from that better than anyone could have ever predicted. He has won Arsenal fans back, which is not an easy thing to do, and he has supporters singing his name every single week now. Xhaka has had an incredible season for Arsenal. He has played 42 times in all competitions and has been one of their best players, which is why the latest report has come as such as a big surprise. The Daily Mail claimed that along with Kieran Tierney and Folarin Balogun, Arsenal are now ready to listen to offers for Xhaka this summer. The 30-year-old will enter the final year of his contract in July, but Arsenal have an option to extend that by another year. Just 2 months ago, reports revealed that Arsenal have held talks with Xhaka over a brand new contract. It was claimed that the Swiss international was keen to extend his stay at the club, and there was willingness from both parties to seal a deal very quickly. That seemed like a normal thing to do after the kind of season he has had, but the report from the Mail now comes as a real surprise as we near the end of the season. It will be interesting to see what will happen with Xhaka this summer. Pundit says a 27-year-old Arsenal player is sticking out like a sore thumb. John Giles has claimed that Rob Holding is one of the biggest players in the Arsenal team. The pundit was speaking to Off the Ball and he was discussing the run in as we enter the business end of the season. Arsenal are still challenging for the Premier League title, but after their loss to Manchester City on Wednesday, they are firmly second favourites for the title. Giles reckons that Arsenal's weaknesses will be exposed in these crunch matches, and he has stated that Holding is one of the biggest weak points in the Arsenal squad. The pundit gave his verdict on Holding. He said, "When it comes to these crunch matches, I think that the weaknesses show up. Xhaka is a weakness, Gabriel is a weakness, and the other lad at centre half, Holding, is a definite weakness. You have Holding, and I know he is not in the team when everyone is fit, but he is a definite weakness. He is a big weakness." Let's get this straight. Rob Holding hasn't been bad for Arsenal in recent weeks. In fact, you could argue that he's been very decent over this period, but the sad reality is that he is not William Saliba. The French defender has been so good this season that any change in the back line will stick out like a sore thumb, and that is the position Holding is in right now. He is not being as bad as some would make out, but because Saliba has set such a higher bar, he's looked a lot worse than he probably would in any other team. Holding hasn't been good enough, but he's not been anywhere near as bad as Giles suggests. Arsenal scouted a £27 million La Liga defender this week as Arteta looks to strengthen. Arsenal continue to be keen on signing Real Valladolid defender Ivan Fresneda and sent scouts out to Spain to watch him just this week. Fresneda was one of the names constantly cropping up in January for the Gunners. In the end, the talented teenager stayed with Valladolid and has been a regular for most of the season. However, there is an acceptance at the Spanish club that Fresneda will leave, and according to 90 Minute, Arsenal sent their scouts once more to watch him in action against Valencia this week. Still just a teenager, Fresneda has emerged as one of the stars of La Liga outside the main two teams of Barcelona and Real Madrid. Fresneda is considered a future regular for the Spanish national side and has been branded as a fantastic talent during his short career so far. Arsenal, as we know, are looking to plan for the summer and want new signings, a new defender, possibly a right back, which suits Fresneda, and midfielders are on the agenda for Mikel Arteta. After losing to Manchester City in midweek, the club will no doubt look to strengthen and get even closer to City over the summer. Edu is believed to have already done some work on the deal for Fresneda. In essence, this could well get done early in the window if Arsenal push things. You just have to go and get these players sometimes, and if Arsenal get Fresneda, it will feel like a massive coup. This is a player who most of Europe are watching. The likes of Dortmund are mega keen, while the top Spanish sides are also keeping tabs. Arsenal can get a real gem here, and if Edu is already working on things, then that is a huge bonus for the club. Arsenal sent scouts to watch relentless midfielder in European action this week. Arsenal are pressing on with their plans for new summer signings and appear keen to get a deal done for Valencia star Yunus Musah. Musah has been linked with a move away from the Mestalla for some time now. Arsenal have been one of the teams consistently mentioned, with reports suggesting that talks have already started over a potential summer deal. And in an advancement on the pursuit of Musa, 90 Minute is reporting that Arsenal have indeed sent scouts to watch Musa in person this week. 90 Minute reports how Arsenal had representatives in the stadium to see Valencia beat Real Valladolid 2-1. Musa played 84 minutes for the Spanish side in what was a hard-fought game. Musa, who has been described as being a relentless talent in midfield, is said to be one of Arsenal's key targets. Still just 20, Musa is considered one of the rising stars of the European game and is already a regular for the USA. He is seen by Arsenal as a player who can add energy and bite to their midfield, and after being overrun by Man City in midweek, it's an area that needs looking at. Yunus Musah is ready to make the next jump in his career, and a move to Arsenal would more than suit him. Beyond Partey and Xhaka in the middle, Arsenal look lightweight, and with Sambi Lokonga's loan not working out, there are players to be brought in. We know the likes of Declan Rice are key targets for Arsenal, but Musa ticks a lot of boxes as well. Quick, powerful, and capable of getting about the pitch. He is excellent on his day, and at just 20, Mikel Arteta will love the idea of improving Musa further. If this one does happen, then it's a smart investment from the Gunners. Gabri Veiga makes big agent call amid reports he wants to join Arsenal. Arsenal target and young midfielder Gabri Veiga has decided to change agent ahead of the summer transfer window. Veiga is said to be one of a number of players Arsenal are looking to sign. Indeed, the youngster is even believed to be keen to make the move to the Gunners if the Londoners can come to terms with Celta Vigo. The 20-year-old is believed to have a £35 million release clause in his current contract. That sort of money will not put Arsenal and others off, and it seems Veiga himself is now making steps to ensure he gets a move. According to Fabrizio Romano, Veiga has now switched agent to one of the superpowers in that world, Penny Zahavi. Zahavi boasts a wealth of high-profile clients under his wing at the moment, the likes of Nkunku, Lewandowski, Alaba and more. Veiga is considered one of the best young midfielders in Europe at the moment, and Zahavi will hope to be able to sort out a big money move for his new client. Lauded by the Spanish media as being an amazing talent, Veiga is expected to have a number of clubs chasing him. Whenever a player changes to one of the big agents, it's for one reason only, and that's to get a big move. Veiga is clearly positioning himself to move on. He is quite the talent in fairness to him, so it makes sense. Whether or not it will be Arsenal who make their move remains to be seen, but given he admires the Gunners, it's one that could happen. Veiga probably isn't quite ready to have an immediate impact on Arsenal. However, the ability is there, and at just 20, he is the ideal age for Mikel Arteta to get to work on. Journalists react to suggestion that £80 million player has already signed for Arsenal. Tom Canton has reacted after hearing suggestions that Declan Rice has already signed for Arsenal. The journalist was discussing Rice and Arsenal's interest in the midfielder on his YouTube channel, and he says that it's been suggested to him by certain individuals that a deal is already done for the £80 million man to come to the Emirates. Unfortunately, Canton couldn't verify those suggestions, stating that he hasn't actually heard anything of the like from his sources, but he did add that he is hopeful that these ramblings are correct. The journalist shared what he knows about Rice. He said, "Furthermore, Declan Rice remains the number one target. We have reported that here, and that's my understanding of the situation, that Rice remains the number one target. I have seen suggestions that it's already done, but I have not heard that myself. I hope it's right, but he remains the number one target for Arsenal in the summer." You are always bound to have one or two overly brash sources claiming that a deal is done months in advance, but the reality is that it's way too early to be speaking in these terms about a player like Rice and a club like Arsenal. The Gunners have a title race to focus on, while Rice has a relegation battle and a European tour to keep him occupied at the moment. Both parties simply aren't in the right state of mind to be doing this deal just yet. And while the framework of a deal may be laid out at this point, we are a long way away from anything concrete being done. Our best advice would be to ignore any of this sort of speculation until the summer. I will be uploading daily Arsenal news, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.